Okay, do we have any other questions from the floor here I don't want to, I want everybody to have the say on the panel for everything, but there's a question back there.
Hi, would you encourage getting work experience during your college life? Like taking part in field work or internships and research?
A question on something that's growing a lot in liberal arts life is how much experience in the workplace should you try and get through field work, through summer internships, while you're still a student, okay? Sarah, you got any views on that one?
We take in a lot of interns with our program. We rely on a lot of sort of, you want to call it pro bono work from the community, I guess. And I'm always almost overwhelmed by how much experience undergraduate students have in work experience, field experience, volunteering. And I wonder sometimes if it's almost too much and too much pressure. So I sort of would almost encourage you to not feel as if you have to thrust yourself into a career so early. I think internships are really important. I think experiencing different professions is important to expose yourself in different ways, but I also think travel and really experiencing life in a different way outside of an office sitting in front of a computer is also very important. I don't think you necessarily grow up sitting in front of a computer doing database work, or it may look good on a resume, but it doesn't necessarily translate into real experience. I think sometimes it's a bit too competitive out there, and I think even high school students today, to get into college, need to sort of show that they have their own corporation, or they're running some sort of small NGO or something. And I honestly don't think that that's as impressive as it may come across as on paper. I think you need to really live life and be able to experience it and be able to talk about your experiences well and genuinely.
Thank you. I've just got to say goodbye to our panelists near and far at the moment. I've got to move over, but I'm being well replaced by D.B. Brown, Dean of Students here. He's going to look after you for the rest of the way. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Take care, David.
You'll notice a change in accent here. Somewhat. Thank you. Good to see you. I don't know if all of you in the audience really understand that you're seeing folks here. They don't really see you. I think you only see me. Is that right? And you don't see me?
I don't see you, no.
Oh, okay. You're trying not to.
You mean you can see me?
I can, yeah. We all
Oh, then I'll put that.
And that you don't know actually that there's a room of several hundred people here listening to this.
That's all right.
That's true. That's true. Yes, sure.
Yeah, now I can see it.
Okay.
I'd like to speak to that because I was thinking about this. When I was at Vassar, I was a security guard as a part-time job, and that was so that I could make money and work. Right? I found a job where I could actually do some work. But my third year of doing it, I actually organized all of the other security guards. And I actually liked that because then, in fact, our schedules were fairly distributed, and I discovered in myself that that was something that I loved to do. I also did some volunteer projects. We ran a Welcome Back to Vassar program for, well, no, actually it was a freshman program, and I loved organizing that. So what I'd say is whatever you do here, pay attention to the things that you love about your jobs or your internships or in your summer jobs. If you, I had to work with elderly, or I chose to work with elderly every summer, and I didn't like the way I was scheduled, and I thought I could do a better job at it. Turns out I ended up in administration, and that's exactly what I do, and work on trying to improve systems. So I would listen to yourself. When you find something that you love in a job, then think about that for future, because that in fact will lead you to a happier place.
Just wondering, a lot of you are having a chance to sort of think and listen to all this. Is there something that you'd like to ask me, something specifically about a field that one of our panelists has? Yes, and how about, for the benefit of the panel, I want you to identify. Who are you?
I'm Ani. I was sophomore in Bulgaria. I was wondering, for those of you who've been to graduate school, how is it to apply into finance and to like make this transition from undergrad to graduate?
Can I don't know if you can hear on the
the application process.
Okay.
Who's the questioner?
Why don't you go ahead?
Well, when I graduated from Vassar, I got into a bank training program, and in those days, it was a 2-year management training program. And after the 2-year training program, I felt like I really hadn't gotten work experience. So I worked for another couple of years, and I got 4 years under my belt before getting an MBA. I went to Columbia, and I thought it was an important part of making sure that business is what I really wanted to do. I never thought it would be international business, but it did end up being that. And I think that you have to remain flexible to broaden your scope a little bit and use the resources that you've got under your belt to just not define it as a job I've got to get in New York and stay there the rest of your life, because a lot of times you never really know what life's going to bring you. And in my case, it brought me a family in Italy, and I never thought I would have one here.
I just recently applied to graduate school, and so I have my first interview in March. I will say that the past few years, from what I've gauged with art schools, they're very competitive, and I don't know if it's because of the bad economy, or maybe because art is selling for a lot more and people think it's a lucrative career, which it really isn't. So what is my advice? I would say apply to the schools that you really want to go to because there's someone there that you want to study with. And maybe disregard that more than the name, but in my case, I'm applying to Vassar, and there's a Cuban-American photographer there who I really want to study under, and so that is why I chose that school. I think that I could learn a lot from him.
Any others on the panel?
Oh, okay. I'm an advocate for working for quite a few years to make sure that you go to a program that you feel like was valuable. So undergrad, I was a religion major. I used that lens to study history, philosophy, sociology, art, literature. So that was my sort of general program, and I wouldn't have traded that for anything in the world, but I was paying for graduate school out of my own pocket, and I wanted to make sure that I was spending my money wisely, and I got very specific with what I was doing with that program. So you have to work for a while before you can really know, is this what I want? And I've seen people who've gone right from undergrad to grad, and then they say, but I didn't really understand what this was going to be. And then they end up changing programs and kind of wishing they had taken more time to think it through.
Sometimes students tell me that they worry that they don't know what they want to do. Does anyone here everyone here is crystal clear on what you're going to do?
I still don't know what I want to do. So.
Just from the panel